Cool. And I feel like, one, knowing the things that you're going to look for is going to be really helpful for you, because now you'll have you'll be able to prioritize your time in the classroom. But this is also making me think about so let's take it to the next level. You get evidence of these things, and that's going to help you to create your idea of what change needs to happen. And looking at her data, I feel like we're going to have to focus in on these 7 below 70 kids. Like, I mean, because yes, there's going to be, I think the changes that she'll make in intro and guided practice and independent practice are going to help the 6 above 80. Like, they're going to just make the process more clear for them. She's going to monitor their process more. But like, some things are going to have to change for those 7 below 70 kids,
the ones below 70, this guided practice piece is the most important.
Okay.
I mean, this is just my opinion, that the people who then, like, because I saw the list of who these children are usually ones who during guided practice are making mistakes and no one's correcting them. And then she waits until they're in the small group to reteach it, and it's just a total waste of time. Because you can't reteach it after they've sat for 40 minutes on understanding.
And practiced it
in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think like the guided practice, how students are engaging with the newly learned material is going to be really crucial. Because is it that she only calls the people who are in that top group up to the board and that's how she knows if kids getting it, or is she not checking for understanding and coaching and correcting during that time?
Yeah, I think you're right. Let's start to get specific to your plan of like what. Let's say guided practice is the teacher thing that's going to be changed. Like the thing that's going to really be changed for this group of 70 below 70. So that's the teacher change. Like the way she does guided practice changes dramatically. She's monitoring more of her lower group of kids, like so that she actually is make sure they're practicing effectively. Maybe you do some skill building with her of like what should a good guided practice look like
and for those kids.
For those kids,
right.
And I have a document that actually could be helpful for you as you're helping her to reflect through this, and maybe like you in your skill building with her, you do some role playing or practicing or whatever. You help her to design a lesson, and then you come back and you see it in action, all that good stuff. What ultimately would we want to say would be different for those 70 below 70? Yeah, on the student level.
Well, end of the week data wise, they'd be mastering the quiz. I mean, at least at a 70. I mean, if they're below 70, I would say like at least at a 70%.
Yeah.
But that I would see them during the lesson actually being able to explain what they're doing. Because I sometimes feel them in her classroom, it's all a guess.
Yeah.
They were doing remainders with the dots, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like one girl was just like circling dots, and she didn't understand that the dots made up 1. And the extra dots were my remainder because it was a trick. I feel like there's a lot of tricks being taught, but not the actual concepts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like even when she was telling me the problem solving, it just seemed like tricks. So that's what I would like to see the change be. Is that students during guided practice below the 70% range right now will be able to tell me, this is what I'm working on and this is how I solve these problems, or this is how I got this answer, right? To know that they actually can and it's not a guess. That would be ideal.
So when we talk about Allison next week, one of the things I'll be following up with you about is one, how did the skill building with Allison go? First of all, how did the observation with her go?
Right, because I don't have, we're still
like once
scheduling,
you get the evidence
scheduling our next code, because we've already met twice since, like, we met last week to kind of say, this is where I am, here are our priorities, we're like blah, blah, blah. We met on Sunday so I can help her plan this week so she can get clear on what her kids need to know and have an aligned assessment for the week. And then I'm serving now tomorrow, but we haven't scheduled our next meeting. We said we would figure it out this week, so hopefully it's either gonna be on Thursday or Sunday, so.
And I think if you'll get evidence in the classroom about really what's been holding her back during either INM, GP, or independent practice, that'll help you to determine this is the thing that I have to build skill with her on Thursday or Sunday when we meet. And then maybe we spend our time next week going in to see the difference, like her implementing the skill that you've built here. And then we follow up at the end by the end of the week with what has happened for student data for specifically for these lower, for these 7 below 70. It's kind of cool how that worked out, 7 below 70.
I also need I'm going to talk to her tonight, want to make sure that her tracker is accurate and she kind of cleans it up a little bit so that we're looking at the most accurate data possible to make these good decisions, so.
And I think when you walk her through how you came to this conclusion, like how you came to the conclusion that, you know what, I really wanted to focus on thinking about these 7 below 70. I thought about what was happening overall with your class, with, you know, where folks were struggling and where they weren't, and,
What
you
you
know,
shared
word
with
problems,
me.
what you shared with blah, blah, blah. Like, I think this will help her to appreciate the process even
Oh,
more,
yeah.
and like you
Oh, yeah.
walking her through the
Yeah.
steps that you took to think through
Okay,
this
yeah.
will start to build her CIE skills. So, even setting her up for the expectation that the next time we talk, I want you to do some of the same thinking and
I
come
think
to
what
the
I'm gonna do
table
is
with
Dr.
these
gave me a
ideas.
template she created yesterday, which is literally just this, that she has core members sit and do during co-investigations for ones that she's trying to build CIE,
Yeah.
so mainly her ones who are already performing at a higher level and they have data accurately, consistently.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm gonna like write this out and show her how I did it, and then like give that to her,
Yeah.
so she can see the whole thing and not just hear me say it.
Yeah.
And then she can have something like that to work off of.
Yeah, I think